Okay, you guys, hello, it's Renee Flamand. I'm such a spaz, so I just have to at the top of this video discuss my spazoidness for 1 second so I can alleviate my brain. And this isn't the first time I filmed since I made this era. I should have said it in the last week's videos and I did not. But I remembered that I did not, so I want to say this. In video 518, as you guys know, I went over a viewer's comment. A lot of you are already like, I know what she's going to say, the wrench. I know! 518, we went over the viewer's comment, and then on video 535 and 36, I mention the wrench, and it's in the comments, and I tried to say in the comments, I realized after, let me just stop and say, when I read the comment that we went over, I was so floored by how heartfelt and honest and everything else she was. I really did misread it when she said he threw a wrench at me. There's no punctuation, if I recall. So I said, I heard wrench. I didn't even think of the colloquialism, he threw a wrench at me. I'm thinking he threw a wrench at her, and I'm saying how terrible, what he did to her is terrible anyway, but I mean, I love that I realized it when I rewatched it when I posted it. And I told you guys before, I make the video, I watch it right when I make it, I still didn't catch it, put it out there, watched it that morning, and said, oh my God, looked up the comment and realized it. I'm glad you viewers are sharp though, because somebody said to me, and I can't find it right now. It's like not showing up or something. But I think he meant, you guys are so polite. I think she didn't mean rent. And I'm like, I know, I just realized that. It shows you how deep into this I get. I read all your comments. I was feeling so bad for Jahira that I heard and saw wrench. But I apologize, je m'excuse. And I just rewatched it and thought I need to really address that in person. So even though I already filmed last week's and I didn't mention it, I wanted to at the top of this one, je m'excuse, total spaz moment for Nene. I don't like that he threw a wrench at her though in the way that he did. Watch those videos if you haven't. But anyway, today's video, this is the mind trick of all mind tricks. You know you don't want them. You know you don't want them. But you don't want them, or you can't think of them with another person. It's going to bother you. Okay? And many, many, many people go through this. And in fact, I'm making this video as a request from Cassidy in her comment under video 535. You can look that video and that comment up. But she refers to, you know, you can find it and relate, so you can relate. I'll give you a second. But she explains, and I think that this is more normal than not. And it's a weird concept. You know you don't want them, but you don't want them with anyone else. And I appreciate, Cassidy, you giving me that idea, and I love that. I try to do that if ever I get messaged, or I try to incorporate the video into, you know, what you guys would ask for, and this is one of those times. But we don't want to picture them with someone else. We don't want to visualize them with someone else, or hear in our minds him saying stuff to her that he said to us. All of it. It is really bad to visualize when you're in it, especially when you're in it. I'm telling you, it does pass, but that's not any solace for those of you that are in that right now. I know when you're in that space, it is awful. I'm going to try to work a little bit in a few minutes here today on that concept, because I feel bad. And I think even if you know that you don't want him back, I think that this dichotomy happens because I just realized I feel like I'm yelling today. And I think it's because us not wanting them back comes from our brain. We finally saw the light. We saw the logic. We woke up. the Kool-Aid digested, however you put it, the fog lifted, and you're awake now. So you are choosing to not be with them. That comes from your brain. We know we shouldn't, and we finally got in alignment and left. But some of you, some of us, many of us, remain connected in the heart for quite some time. And that dichotomy was torture for me. That's the cognitive dissonance. You know what you know, but you're trying to make excuses for it to be acceptable and all of this. Okay, fine, we've talked about that. But that's the tricky part. When you know it's bad and you are still wanting, and you don't want them, but you still can't picture them with somebody else. It's a real mind trick. It really is, because you're like, why would I care? I feel like part of us too is the reason is we don't, who wants to see them happy? That's terrible. I know it's terrible to say that. I know it's terrible to say that. And I feel bad. Even though your head knows that it's bad territory, your heart felt what it felt. And I want to pay proper respect to that, because a lot of people get told, well, just leave. What do you mean? How can you miss him? And you can't tell anyone you miss them, and you can't tell anyone you're thinking of them, because they thought you were crazy to remain as long as you did, and you finally got the courage to get out, and now you're sitting here with all this feeling, and there's an absence of that person, and you don't want them back, but you can't stop thinking of the other person. I think when you are trauma bonded to the individual, it stands to reason you can't picture and don't want to picture them with another person. You're bonded to them. You think they're yours. You thought you were his. There's a territorial aspect involved. And without us knowing, that's ego. It hurts our pride. It makes you feel worthless. And who the heck wants them to be happy? You want them to be pining away for you. You want them to not ever be with anyone again and have them realize that you're the only one, and blah, 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 blah. The narcissist moves on and they look happy. And we don't want that either. So you stick with that. That passes too. I don't care if my narcissist is acting happy or not. I never look up what he's doing or try to find what he's doing or try to inquire. There's a friend of a friend of a friend. Like, I could, don't care. That passes too, and that's lovely. But I'll say it right out loud. If I chose, no, I don't want him happy. I think he deserves to have come back at him what he gives the earth. That would mean that they were unhappy. And we know deep down inside they are unhappy. But I do believe any person with this disorder doesn't deserve to have everlasting happiness. And I'm sorry that that's a harsh thing, but the behavior they echo is treacherous. So that, I think, is a big thing that we all feel. So when you see them with somebody else, it might not even be that you're picturing what he says to them and the hurt part of it. It might get under your skin. Who used to say they're winning? Wendy Williams. She did pop culture, and she'd have a divorced couple up there, and she'd cite one person's story, and she'd cite the other person's story. And if one person was happily remarried, and they're winning, she'd say, right? When you see them happy, I think part of you is like, no, they don't get to be. Please try to remember that they're not. It's really that simple. They're not. And when it's hard for you to picture them with somebody else, I want you to picture, instead of picturing what they say, what they physically, whatever is making you sick, and I understand that if any of you feel that way, oh my God, instead of picturing that, oh, it just makes me sick for you, I hate it. Picture the bad things he's done to you and picture her in that place. Like you're envisioning them together. Okay, envision them together in a physical space of a kitchen and your last huge fight you had in the kitchen. Picture them in a visual space of your car in the last nightmare he put you through and something you found out on the way to a big event and you had a blowout. Think of that, because that's all happening to the new also. I really understand what Cassidy is saying. She knows she doesn't want him, but it's hard to see them with somebody else. I'm trying to give you the way I looked at it to help me turn the corner, as I try to do. And I just think that when we see them with somebody else, we think, what? They could be happy? But no, what? No. Here's the thing, and I want you to recall this whenever you're in that place. I really want to get back. They really are never fully, truly happy. They don't have the ability to find satisfaction. Think about that. To cultivate. They don't have the ability to cultivate and nurture a healthy bond with someone. So please, even if you see them and you think they look happy, they have severe limitations in so many compartments of their life that it makes sense that there's compartments that have a total deficit or they're defunct, and this is one of them. They can't be happy. And if you look at their family and their friends and their job, and there's always drama with them. There's something awry. Somebody stepped on their toes. Somebody insulted them. They're on a cause, a quest. They're always at war with someone. And I think that there's always several categories that will bring them tremendous dissatisfaction. And that's all of them. Family, friends, partner. They want more, newer, faster, the best, the most, the most money, the most house, the most partner, the most everything. And because of that, they will always, perpetually, they will be in some kind of hell loop that they can't escape. And it's them not being satisfied ever. So even if you see them with somebody else, remind yourself the reasons that you're not with them, that your brain told you that you're not supposed to be with them. And if your heart is aching and you're thinking of them together, do what I said. I know it's hard to picture somebody else, but do what I said. Try to picture them in the bad circumstances as well, not just lovey-dovey love bombing. That's what you're doing to yourself. You're picturing the love bombing phase in the new person. Skip it. Skip it. It might already be over. They might already be way into devalue. They're still going to post happy pictures online. If that's what you do. I don't have that connection. But I guess what I'm trying to say today, and what helped me tremendously, is that I learned all about how they can never find happiness. So I didn't sweat it. If he was with somebody else or tried to make me feel like he's happy, I didn't sweat it because I knew that was going to blow up. And it's not the word schadenfreude. It's not, ha, I don't want you to find happiness. No. I'm saying that, and logically, I knew that he could never find it. That's a fact. He will never find it. I don't care what he pretends, what he tries to throw in my face. No, they're never satisfied. So don't sweat it. I knew whoever he spent time with would experience her own kind of fresh hell. Sorry, you need a swear right there. You need hell. I knew trouble followed him because of the way he lives his life. So I didn't care. I feel bad for the new. I always feel bad for the new. Release yourself from caring about if they're with somebody else and concentrate on knowing that you can and will have your happiness. And this has nothing to do with finding someone else. You'll find your happiness alone also. And first, you should. But you will find it with or without somebody as long as you're not with them and as long as you don't fall into being with another narcissist. We talk about that a lot. Please learn how. There's videos on it. I mention it inherent in a lot of them. That's a big concern of mine. So if you don't think you know how to spot them, please learn that immediately. But you will find your happiness provided you keep yourself safe and away from these kind of people. Continue on the path of you don't want them. Concentrate on what your brain is telling you, Cassidy. And in your heart, change your visual of him being with somebody else to all the bad. Are you sure? Let him find someone else. And yes, I don't want anyone to go through this. So, you guys, so I told you, I even contacted New Supply. This was over a year ago. I made some videos on it a couple of weeks ago, but I really do genuinely feel bad for New Supply, and I don't want to see anyone else duped. But if you, and some of you hate them because they stole them up from under you, there's a whole spectrum. But I don't want you to ever feel you don't want him with anybody else. Let him find whoever he wants. He's always going to be going through a repeat of the relationship the way it was with you. The good news is you won't go through it again. They go through it every time. Every time. You don't have to ever go through anything again. You've removed yourself. There's just a new player in town. The new person. So if you find somebody else, who cares? Again, care for the new. Don't want anyone hurt. But think in your mind, let them have him. Please take him. Let him think he's happy for a minute so that he doesn't bother you and hoover you. Get him off your back, off your doorstep. Go. I hope he gets married and has 10 kids at the age of 63. Like, just don't come here. So I want you to get to that point, and you can if you concentrate on the bad that they did to you. And I don't mean wallow in it and walk around with it like a weight all day, but on this issue, when you're sitting down to devote and you find yourself thinking, ugh, it kills me, I don't want it with anybody else. Think, oh my God, that poor thing is going to go through what I went through. Let her have him. Let her have him and all his dysfunction. You don't need it. She doesn't either, and she'll learn that too. And then he might come knocking back, and I want you to remember why you're not with him. I know it's tough, and I'm so sorry, but I hope this helped you, Cassidy. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. Please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.